So one of the things that's really interesting about psychoanalysis, and one of the things I love about it, is that the psychoanalysts tell you if someone says, I'm good, or I stand for a good thing, the first thing you want to look for is the opposite of that. It's like, okay, that's what you say. What might really be going on? Or is it actually the case that you're Jesus Christ and all the saints combined? You know, you're this perfect person. Or are there dark motives for what you're doing that you claim to be doing for the good? So a guy named George Orwell, who was one of the world's most creative essayists in the 20th century, he was a left-winger. He wrote some things that were very critical of socialist movements, and was one of the early critics of Soviet Russia when it was sort of in vogue among intellectuals to be supportive of the Soviets. One of the things he said about left-wing socialists was that they didn't really like the poor. He was talking about middle-class left-wing socialists, not the working-class guys who were in the unions and, you know, had some justification for their struggle against those who were at the top of the power hierarchy. He was more looking at people that were already at the top of the power hierarchy who were claiming to be advocates for the working class. You know, and his claim fundamentally was that those people didn't like the poor, they just hated the rich. And you know, it was difficult for the publisher who was publishing that book, which was called Road to Wigan Pier, which is an amazing book. It's a book about coal miners in northern Britain, and it's brutal. Those people had brutal lives, man. So, but anyways, you know, the publisher, which was the Left Book Club, if I remember correctly, was very loath to publish the essay that went along with that book because it was such a devastating criticism of sort of middle-class socialism. Anyways. So the psychoanalysts are always telling you, look, you know, there you are, there's no monster. It's like, okay, where's the monster? Because it's somewhere. It's somewhere, because there's a monster in everyone, and if you're hiding it or covering it up or pretending that, you know, you only stand for the good, it's like, all that means is that you're ignorant and naive about your own possibility. There's a monster around there somewhere. So, yeah, and that's partly because, you know, if you're not a monster, it's pretty hard to stay alive. Because, you know, you have to contend with things like this. Sorry, things like this, and things like this, and things like this, and things like this. You know, that's your life. You contend with that. Nature is brutal. Culture is brutal. And other people can be brutal too. And so if you're not prepared for that and able to withstand it, then you're just going to get rolled over. So you better get the old inner monster developed, because, and under conscious control, because even though it's a terrible thing, you need it.